Eva was hurrying to pack her last things, trying to finish preparing for the trip as quickly as possible. But despite her efforts, she couldn't help but notice how Gosha, her loving cat, was getting tangled at her feet. His little paws were darting hurriedly across the floor, and his big, expressive eyes were searching for understanding in her gaze. Every time she tried to concentrate on packing, Gosha, as if sensing her anxiety, would look into her eyes with an innocent yet persistent question. Periodically, he would climb into the large bag, trying to find something familiar there or perhaps just seeking his place in the hustle and bustle. Eva sighed, stroking her fluffy friend as if apologizing for having to leave him for a while. Her touches were gentle and full of care, conveying the full range of her emotions, from anxiety to love. She continued to meticulously check the list of items needed for the village, trying not to miss anything important. Her husband, who had already managed to take some things to the car, was waiting impatiently at the doorstep, understanding how important it was to leave quickly. Eva tried not to delay, although her heart felt heavy at the thought of parting with Gosha. Eva's parents fell ill almost simultaneously, which was an unexpected and shocking blow for her. Her mother felt unwell right in the garden beds, where she usually spent her morning hours, surrounded by fresh vegetables and flowers. A few days later, her father, who worked at the dacha, also felt a heaviness in his heart, and soon his condition worsened. After several days of treatment in the hospital, they called their daughter asking her to come with her husband and stay in the village to take care of the house while they recovered. Eva had to take unpaid leave, adding extra worries and organizational issues. As they prepared to leave, Eva and her husband decided it would be best to leave Gosha with the neighbors. However, they themselves couldn't exactly imagine how the cat might interfere, but the anxiety over her parents had so consumed her mind that she simply couldn't think of anyone else. Gosha was entrusted to caring neighbors during their absence, hoping the cat would be safe and receive all the necessary care. "Gosha, aren't you hungry? Come eat." The neighbor, shrugging her shoulders and addressing the cat, tried to call him. But Gosha, as if glued to the windowsill, didn't respond to the call. His large, unblinking eyes watched the street attentively, as if expecting something important. Sometimes he would dart away, hurrying towards the front door, as if he sensed an invisible signal. But upon realizing the footsteps belonged to strangers, he quickly returned, leaving only a light rustle behind. Gosha couldn't find peace. Each new day passed in a state of anxiety and anticipation. He became averse to any foreign touches and wouldn't let anyone touch him. Understanding the cat's mood, the considerate neighbor left him alone, but Gosha neither ate nor slept. He waited. And not waiting any longer, he decided to set out on his own to find his beloved owners. Patiently waiting for an opportunity, Gosha began to bide his time until the entrance door of the building would be open. His intuition told him that this moment would surely come. And he was lucky. One day, when the neighbor accidentally left the door open for a few minutes, the right moment arrived. Slipping into the corridor, he dashed out into the street with all his paws, overcoming his fear of the unknown. There, pausing for a second under the bright sun, Gosha lifted his muzzle, fluffing his whiskers and closing his eyes, as if feeling freedom for the last time. Fragments of memories surfaced in his mind. The owner's conversations about some village, warm words of gratitude after a walk, nightly gatherings by the fireplace. He remembered how once they took him there, for fresh meat, and how happy and protected he felt then. Catching those vague but important signals, the cat confidently headed in the right direction, trusting his instincts and memory. Unaccustomed to long walks, Gosha quickly became tired. Moreover, cats are supposed to spend a significant part of their time sleeping, but his desire to find his owners was stronger. He didn't stray from his chosen path despite fatigue and hunger. Starving, he made stops at gas stations along the road, trying to avoid crowded places but still attracting the attention of passers-by. Approaching people, Gosha would gaze into their eyes for a long time, as if asking for help and confirmation of his intentions. His confident posture, pedigreed appearance, and some inexplicable, almost hypnotic feline charm worked flawlessly. People, seeing his persistence and pleading look, couldn't refuse to help him and would feed him. However, not all encounters were friendly. A young man, noticing a cat approaching his car, irritably tried to shoo him away. He began waving his hands and loudly expressing his displeasure, which greatly upset Gosha. But the cat, staying still, looked at the man sternly and reproachfully, as if expressing his disagreement with such behavior. The man, surprised by the cat's reaction, stopped and paused for a moment. Something changed inside him. Perhaps it was the look of determination and unbroken will from the little animal. Cursing to himself, he decided not to leave the cat hungry and got into the car, took out a meat pie, and cautiously handed it to the cat. Gosha, as if nothing had happened, took the food carefully with his teeth and hid in the thick bushes by the roadside. The man, surprised by himself, unexpectedly called out into the distance, "If you need more, I have some." These words left Gosha with a feeling of hope and support. Despite his exhausted and frightened state, the cat confidently continued his arduous journey. For him, who was accustomed to the coziness of an apartment and trips only by car, the world outside the home was a real test. Almost everything he encountered on the way frightened him. Large insects forced him to flee as if from terrible predators. He encountered noisy streets, crowded squares, and strange smells that were previously unfamiliar to him. However, he persistently moved forward, intuitively sensing the direction with his sensitive whiskers and his whole body, despite fatigue and difficulties. After almost a whole month of wandering, filled with adventures and overcoming fears, Gosha finally reached a small village. His heart filled with relief and joy. He felt close to his goal, to meeting those he had desperately searched for. Meanwhile, Eva experienced the long-awaited relief. The intense tension and anxiety that hadn't left her all this time began to subside. Her parents gradually recovered, and the girl no longer needed to be constantly present in the hospital. She could finally take care of the house and garden, preparing them for her parents' return. Eva felt the burden of responsibility gradually lifting from her shoulders, giving way to joy and anticipation of reuniting with her family. One day, while weeding by the fence, her attention was drawn to a noise, the outraged cries of domestic birds. Eva froze, listening to the alarming sounds coming from the street. Squinting into the distance, she couldn't believe her eyes. Down the dusty road, kicking up dust and fleeing from furious ducks, ran her Gosha. Eva's heart beat faster. The cat she had not seen for so long had returned to her despite all the difficulties and dangers he had faced. The domestic birds, noticing the cat, mistook him for a threat to their nests and attacked the poor creature. Exhausted from the long journey, Gosha couldn't defend himself. Two mature ducks with cross eyes attacked him from different sides, already tearing patches of fur from his sides. His body trembled from pain and fatigue, but the instinct to survive and the desire to be near his owner made him not give up. "Get out of here!" Eva shouted without a second thought. She rushed to defend her pet, waving her hands and loudly demanding the birds to retreat. Eva drove away the aggressively inclined ducks despite their disgruntled cries and lost dignity. She skillfully dodged their attacks, trying to protect Gosha from further injuries. Gosha, seizing the moment, instantly leapt into her arms, climbing onto her lap. Eva, holding the cat close, felt his body trembling from fear and relief. She stroked his head, trying to calm him and stop the bleeding. "Gosha, how did you get here?" Eva asked with surprise and excitement in her voice, feeling her heart fill with joy and relief. The cat, like a person, pressed himself against her with his whole body, radiating relief and gratitude. One of his eyes was swollen from sand, his ear was covered with a bloody scratch, and most of his claws were broken. But he made it. He found his owner and found peace in her loving arms. Eva carefully lifted the cat, feeling his weakness but also his incredible determination. She realized that Gosha had gone through incredible trials to return to her. Inside her ignited a feeling of gratitude and deep attachment to her pet. She knew that Gosha was not just a cat, but a true family member capable of heroic acts for his loved ones. After a long and well-deserved sleep, Gosha became Eva's inseparable companion. He no longer strayed a step away from her, always staying close, as if understanding what they had been through together. Eva felt her life become richer and fuller, thanks to this small but incredibly brave creature. "Where will I go now?" she responded playfully, stroking her loyal friend. "Better go chase some butterflies." But the cat obviously decided that his main mission in life was to be close to the one who loves and protects him. Gosha no longer sought solitary adventures or independent walks. He made a firm decision never to leave his beloved owners under any circumstances. After all, it was the separation from them that nearly broke his little but so devoted and sincere heart, overflowing with longing. Eva felt their bond strengthening each day. She watched as Gosha, lying on her lap, purred with pleasure and trust. He became a symbol of their family, a reminder that even in the toughest moments, there is room for love and mutual support. Eva knew that together they could overcome any trials that life would bring their way. Friends, we would love to hear your thoughts. Please share your opinions about this story in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to always stay with us. See you next time.